narcissist is going around rewriting everything that you did for them and everything that you were. And you didn't know that it was a lie. And they'll use all different kinds of tactics, and one of them will be feel sorry for the narcissist. They're the victim. DARVO, it's all about rewriting reality. I think possibly the loneliest period of being with a narcissist, apart from actually being in the relationship with the narcissist, is when you get out of a relationship with a narcissist. And the reason I say that is because nobody actually gets it. There's nobody that you can turn to. You're stepping into another world which is actually becoming the reality. And what happened was that the narcissist had rewritten that reality. So you got into a relationship with a narcissist, whether it be a working relationship, whether it be in family dynamics as far as growing up with them, siblings, your mum, your dad, grandparents, whoever it might be, friendships, or you've had children with them. So whichever dynamics, if you had connected with them and invested your time, invested your everything basically, and you believed them, and you didn't know that it was a lie. And the reality that you had directions that you were going down, you had dreams, you had aspirations, you had resources, you had certain beliefs which you thought were good beliefs, and they are good beliefs, but not in the world that we live in. These narcissists are ill in a sense of their personality disordered, and they'd sucked you into it, they'd conned you into it. When you were in their reality and they were all consuming you, they were taking over, and you didn't realize that all of your decisions that were being made were actually being made for a narcissist. And what that means is it's like making a decision for Quicksilver and expecting it to be solid, but it'll change on you. You can't even put your finger on it, but you don't realize that. So every decision that you make is based on not reality, but it's your reality, but it's being invested in their non-reality. So what happens when you leave the narcissist? They rewrite the reality that you were with them. That's rewritten again. So you're talking about the smear campaign and the silent suffering being the loneliest place ever. And when you leave, you can't talk about that. For one reason, they'll shut you down. For another reason, you don't know how to talk about it because you don't know what happened. The person who you can believe as being which one was the narcissist and which one wasn't, the one who's talking about it quite clearly is not the victim. The victim is the one who will be quiet about it. That is where you get a lot of suffering on your own, while the narcissist is going around rewriting everything that you did for them and everything that you were. They'll turn all of your good into bad. They'll create stories. They'll make things up. They'll rewrite literally everything. And if you've got children with them, then they'll rewrite it with your children, and they'll rewrite your children's reality as well. This smear campaign is exhausting, wouldn't you agree? And the fact that your body has gone into a complete state of withdrawal, and so you're dealing with that as well. Withdrawal being because you've had toxic chemicals inside of you that shouldn't be together. I think it's well worth recognizing that it is what it is. The fact that you're going to go through some very difficult, lonely times. I'm not going to call it a journey, but if you've been labeled an abuser, if you've been scapegoated, if you've been erased, it just does a number on you. These narcissists, they'll tell whatever they need to tell and set up whatever they need to set up. Not just the smear campaigns, but they'll bait you. They will get the police involved. They'll get other friends involved. You'll see community gang stalking, having eggs thrown at you, having stuff written on your car, having all kinds of things done to you, and nobody believes you. So how do you deal with that? And let's say if you've got another partner or another friend who spends a lot of time with you, how much time do they give you before they start getting a little bit bored about it as well? You know, there's only so much, and that drags them down. And so your conscience knows that that's dragging them down as well. So you stop speaking with people about it. You have real questions from people saying that my ex has turned my daughter against me. So the truth has been rewritten there as well, the reality. I've done nothing wrong, but now she sees me as unsafe. Remember, you've done nothing wrong, you've had a good relationship, and now, for whatever reason, your child sees you as being unsafe. You'll have heard little things from them. This is the narcissist who's talking bad. This is the narcissist who's rewriting the narrative. It's a false narrative. The narcissist tells people exactly what they want them to know and rewrites their narrative as well. You know, the questions are, how do I survive being erased? Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to erase the truth of what's happened. They're trying to erase your connections with other people. They're trying to erase the memories, and you start questioning as well. And they reverse that around. They make themselves as the victim. Grandparents, I watched my son being shut out of his children's lives. So again, to be shut out of a child's life, there is a narrative that's false. It's rewriting history, it's rewriting the story, it's rewriting the beliefs. So this smear campaign is designed to destroy your credibility, and it's designed to destroy any possibility of anybody speaking with each other. The narcissist doesn't want people speaking with each other. Heaven forbid if they do. So they'll turn people against you, and they'll use all different kinds of tactics, and one of them will be feel sorry for the narcissist. They're the victim. DARVO, reverse the victim and the oppressor. What can you do about that? For one thing, hold on to your truth. The truth. And this is, I know in the Bible, you know, the truth. And many of you who are listening to this won't have a relationship with God. You may not have read the Bible. Myself, I do. I find strength in that. And you know, Jesus said the whole thing. He said exactly what we're going through, and he's on our side on this one. So an adult child realizes the truth, or part realizes some of the truth. So how do they then come forward to you and start sifting through what is the truth? Sometimes they don't want to know. A lot of the times they just want a relationship with you if they come back, but they don't know how to do that either. So they're asking a lot from you. It has to be very peaceful. You have to bring the best out of you from your parenting. Now, let's say maybe that you're a scapegoat in any of these situations. It's not an easy place. If you are the main supply, that's not a good thing either. When you'll be scapegoated even as a main supply, you don't want to be the class A supply. I mean, that's not a good place to be. It just means that you're being used more. So you might find yourself saying that you were always the problem child, and that's done a number on you because you're not the problem child. But the narrative has been rewritten, and this is what the narcissist does, rewrites the narrative. So the narcissist can't have you, the beautiful bright light, the beautiful person in the narcissist's life. And we're talking parents. The parents will rewrite your reality and make out that you were a problem child, and this will impact you for years until you actually do start working on yourself. Now, I work with people to help them to see the truth of this and to regain themselves so that they can move forward. This is what I do as a somatic trauma-informed coach. Somatic being the body, so you feel it in the body. Workplace target as well. So my boss rewrote the story, somebody says, and now I'm being investigated. Yet you didn't do anything wrong, but they're investigating you. It could be a spouse, next spouse, a alienating parent, or somebody who's weaponizing the child, who's contacted your work and they've rewritten the narrative. HR is involved, and now you're finding that you're under investigation. It's a very scary place to be if you've been there. And then you've also got the legal side of things as well. False accusations. It does happen. False accusations could even be that you're out with your partner who you don't know is a narcissist. They might have you go out for dinner or take you out for dinner or something, and they will get you drinking, and you might be driving, and they'll go into the toilet and they'll call the police, and they'll say, oh, my husband, my wife, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whoever it might be, is drinking. The person that I'm with, I'm worried about because, they drink excessively and they get violent as well, but they're going to be behind the wheel. Please help. You think everything's fine. They come out of the toilets. You've had a drink, and hopefully not much, and you pay the bill. You all go out. You think it's a wonderful evening, and 3 minutes later, after you've been in the car, the police are pulling you over, and they know your name. They breathalyze you. Thank goodness you haven't been drinking much, so you don't get done. And the person sitting next to you is saying, my goodness, I wonder how did that happen? And they start rewriting reality then as well. They start getting you to think that it was somebody else. You go, but it can't be. What you're experiencing, you've heard this term before, is cognitive dissonance, gaslighting in there. How do you support somebody who's lived a false narrative, a false reality, and is now in a real reality, and they don't even know that what you're saying is believable? How can they trust in what you say? Because if the person they love the most has done these things to them, the narcissist, then how can this victim of narcissistic abuse trust you? I pray to God that they can. Be aware of that if you're supporting somebody else, their narrative's been changed and they're not quite sure what's up and what's down, and they don't know what reality is. It's all about rewriting reality. When the narcissist becomes the victim, I think, is the part which completely blows your mind. And you think, thrown under the bus. That's the term that comes to mind. So being thrown under the bus is the most awful thing, because you wouldn't do that to them. You can't believe that they're actually saying things that weren't true, and they're telling people all kinds of stuff. The narcissist playing the victim, oh my goodness. The false narratives that they tell, oh my goodness. When they reverse the blame, right, blinking heck, they totally flip the story, don't they? They absolutely do. So suddenly you are the abusive one, yet all you've done is tried. You're unstable, you're dangerous, you have, geez, my goodness, you've done things that are completely against your character, and your children are saying that you shouted all the time. How can you explain without making it sound like you're gaslighting? The narcissist got in there first. They look believable. They can turn on a dime as far as, being nasty to you or being duper's delight to you, turning around, and they got the tears in their eyes. They change their body language, they change their face, they change the words they use. Manipulative is the word for them, isn't it? So what about you? Has anyone believed the lies about you? Obviously they have, because otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this. So these lies, what's the worst that they've ever said about you? You've got the gaslighting. This is all emotional manipulation, and it causes self-doubt. It's not just lying. Gaslighting is about rewriting the psychological side of things. It's not telling a lie. It's getting somebody to not even know what's blue, what's green. They don't even know what's real and what's not. And then we spend a very, very long time trying to adjust to reality. So because we're questioning what it is that's happened, we then have to speak to a lot of people about this, and then people who don't get this, we get all different kinds of opinions, different points of view as well. So then we have to learn to trust our own instinct, have the courage of your convictions, because relying on other people, they were rewriting reality, they were gaslighting, they were coercing, they were manipulating, they were playing psychological head games. It'll be toward your detriment so that they can get whatever it is that they get, whether it be sex, whether it be they don't want to be alone, your money, whether it's a place to live, whether it's prestige, whether it's to get into a marriage because then they're normal and they hide behind all of that. Then you find yourself having to apologize, not having to, but you're apologizing. You're apologizing for your own actions. You're apologizing for saying things that you think is too heavy and that the other person say it's okay. You're apologizing for being grumpy and the other person's fine about it, but you don't know because you've been told every time about you being grumpy. You've not had the space to speak. You've not had the space to show that you're upset. And when you do go through that space with somebody who actually gives you that space and hears you out, is just there holding that space for you to go through those discomforts, and you get out the other side and everything is fine still, That's a beautiful thing to happen. And I hope for all of you that you do get to experience somebody coming into your life who holds that space for you. Smear campaigns are very, very, very subtle. You don't know that they're happening. They start with little innuendos, little dog whistling, little whispers. You don't know it's happening. They're concerned for you. You think, oh, I'm fine. They'll say, I'm scared you're going to get into a fight. You go, I've never got into a fight in my life. Why are you scared that I'll get into a fight? You say the children are scared of you, which is a really bad thing to say. We end up just not hanging out with people anymore. We become isolated. We have no one to go to. Basically, the narcissist has committed character assassination. In the Bible, it's called murder. And that's how serious it is. And I feel very sorry for these people when they do meet Jesus, if they don't correct themselves, if they don't repent. You, yourself, what kind of lies have hurt you? Who believed it? Who believed those lies? Who stuck by you? How did you get through this? What about the legal stuff? When you thought that you could go to the lawyer, when you thought you could go to court and everything would be okay, and it turns out that it wasn't okay? False accusations. What about the trauma you experienced in the family court? You thought it was going to be all right. What about the financial trauma? What do you do with school? When the school believes another reality, when the school believes that you're abusive, what do you do if you're trying to defend yourself against a lie, and that lie just seems so true and so believable because the child and everybody else is believing it as well? I look sometimes and I think, well, what system failed me the most? So what system failed you the most? What was this rewritten narrative? Who did it? And how did that impact you? What about this co-parenting? Boy, oh boy, you can't co-parent with a narcissist. They'll counter-parent. You have to parallel parent. You're just trying to get on with your life. And now you're having to invest all of this time in just dealing with this stuff. It's not for us to deal with. They love it. There's something else in the Bible as well. It says, don't throw your pearls to the swine. Do you go to court or do you not? It's big questions. What you've been through is absolutely huge. And there's the narcissist being charming, graceful, having a great time, sitting next to the person who they were saying, oh, it's just a friend, getting involved in your children's lives. If it's your parents and they're rejecting you, they're cutting you out. If your parents are cutting you out as well, you become utterly exhausted. You feel like you're broken. I can tell you that you're quite affected, impacted physically, psychologically. You're not completely destroyed or broken. It's very damaging. I would change the wording so that you're not broken. You've been through a massive trauma and it's going to take some recovery. So we'd say we've got a broken leg, maybe treat it like that. Really mushed up with several pins needed on that one. You know the truth. You know what happened to you. Nowadays, me knowing the truth is enough. I would like my children to know the truth. You might want your children to know the truth. You might want others to know the truth. You might be reaching out to your parents or your friends and wanting them to know the truth. And you realize after some time that the only truth is your truth. It is the truth. And that hopefully becomes enough, because the only person who really is going to get you out of this is you. You're the person who's going to create the new business. You're the person who's going to get out there and start walking. You're the person who's going to go to yoga. You're the person who's going to change your diet. You're the person who's going to start changing your routines. You're the person who's going to stop cussing, cuss, 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 drinking, drink, 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 smoking, smoke, smoke, smoke. You're the person who's going to change your world. Nobody else is going to do that. And you're the person who's going to pull yourself out of this. Get some help. People like myself and others, we're here to help you. We've been through this, lived experience. People say you have to have compassion for them. Sure, I have compassion for narcissists, I suppose, but I certainly don't have compassion for what they do to other people. I feel sorry that what they do for themselves is not great. And was it their fault? Well, they chose to be that way. Did they know any other way? Well, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But you've been through some difficult situations, and it may have been a lifetime of it. What did you choose? You chose peace. You chose to not be full of envy and greed. You chose to not harm people for your gain. That's what you've chosen. You've chosen decency. They've chosen the other way, and that's their choice. For that, I don't have compassion. That darkness, light comes from that darkness. This isn't going to last forever. Remember, at the darkest hour, it starts getting lighter. Just remember that. The trauma, what you experienced is true. What you experienced is real. The truth that you know, that's not going to change. That is what happened. Don't doubt that anymore. If you are doubting that, keep writing it down. Keep believing it. Zero tolerance for abuse. This should and needs to change you and change your belief. And if you write on the back of your window of your car, if you've got a dirty back window, backwards, I will not be abused. What would you tell your younger self now, before the smear campaign ever started? I'd like to hear from you, and if you write down in the comments below so that other people can actually read this as well. There are so many people this has happened to. They really need to hear over and over and over again the same stories that people are telling. It's like a textbook. It's the same story written over and over again. Different places, different people, different times, different contexts, but it's the same thing. Watch your identity, because people do watch, people do look. Can't trust everybody on these sites at all. Do speak up if it's safe to do so. I'm Kevin, a trauma-informed coach, somatic trauma-informed coach specializing in narcissistic abuse and parental alienation. Visit www.thepowerandcontrolwheel.co.uk for tools and updates, blogs, and to book some sessions with me as well, a free chat as well. You want to get a hold of me as well, support@thepowerandcontrolwheel.co.uk. The disclaimer is in the description. And can you like, share, subscribe? Until then, God bless you all. Look after yourself. You didn't deserve any of this. It wasn't your fault. And my crikey, you are not alone. Take care of yourself and all the very best. Take care. Bye-bye.